singing Bad Blood, and she is taking on male privilege, referencing her ongoing feud with music executive Scooter Braun at an event honoring women in music.
Women in this industry are criticized and measured up to each other and picked at for their bodies, their romantic lives, their fashion. The definition of the toxic male privilege in our industry is people saying, but he's always been nice to me.
So is she right, or should she move past the bad blood?
Here to react is Fox News contributor and Fox Nation host Tammy Bruce herself. Tammy, good morning. I don't know about the music business, but do you see she has a point?
Well, I'm getting a little tired, and even as a feminist, certainly, of everything being moving through kind of gender stereotypes. The fact is, relationships are relationships, and people who are in power are either going to be good at that power or they're going to be bad at it. And women are not angels, right? When we're in power, we can exercise it wisely or not. In the music industries, certainly in the film industry and television industry, men have been in power. So you're going to have a variety of experiences with men who help you and men who don't. And in my experience, it's been women who have been most helpful, but also a whole bunch of men have been as well. And conversely, some have not been. So I think that, look, she's young, she's 30 years old, she's recognizing that there's power in understanding business, in controlling your own product. That's one of her complaints, that her music catalog has been purchased by someone. Well, this is where women, yes, especially creative women, need to be in more control of the nature of the contracts they sign and what comes up in business.
Isn't that nature of music, not nature of female musicians?
Well, that's it. But when you have a history of women being particularly out of power in certain industries, it can appear as though it's gender-based. The fact of the matter is certain things are changing, and it's going to be a shock for many women that other women also can be bad at management and in general, because, look, I'm an advocate for equality, and I recognize that women can be as great as men and as bad as men. It's about taking the individual for who they are and what they're worth, as opposed to moving us through gender stereotypes. And you'll be less surprised, mostly for women. Be more in control of your lives, understand business, understand the nature of the commitments you're making, and work to have more power yourself in whatever your industry is.
Speaking of business, Forbes magazine put together a list of the 100 most powerful women in the world. Ivanka Trump, I think 42.
Number 42.
Number one, though, Angela Merkel, who, you know, she famously has been praised for standing up to Donald Trump.
Yes, Forbes, even in their listing, they said it's not really about how much money you have or even really how much power in a certain sense. It's what you do with the power, they said. And so not surprisingly, it's Angela Merkel, a woman named Christine Lagarde, who's head of the European Bank, and Nancy Pelosi is number 3. Wow. All three of those women, Europe is sliding into a recession. Germany is moving into a recession. Crime is up double digits since the debacle of the massive million people immigration in 2015, and yet because they're liberal or move through that liberal world, they're considered the top 3.
And look at San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, I want women who are recognized for actually doing good things for individuals.
Was Melania on the list?
Melania was not on the list at all. They couldn't ignore Ivanka, but her accomplishments for this country and for the world when it comes to the quality of women's lives is extraordinary.
She's got family leave.
The family leave, equal pay, the support of her father's agenda, improve the quality of women's and family lives throughout this country. So it's good that she's on it, but really, this is why the media is not trusted. We see that they're speaking to themselves. It's an agenda, even in a list like that should
Tammy,
be obvious.
in the quote was her steely leadership, and by accepting all the Syrians into Germany, she got it. That was one of the most destructive things to happen to the Germans.
It was, and the Germans,
because they were unscreened, no one knew who they were.
That is correct. That's why crime has gone up. The Germans recognize this. The nature of it's a country that is now just kind of limping along. When we're going to recognize women in leadership, let it be women who've been genuinely successful and who really support other women and are not just moving through an agenda that is philosophically based and is a failure.
Yeah, we're going to watch Get Tammy Bruce on Fox Nation like we always have. And by the way,
Tammy.
celebrate the